What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Gonna talk about Al Haymon and the PBC. You know, earlier this year, man, they came out with a big press conference releasing their winter and spring schedule. You know, they had all the fighters from the PBC showed up, and they were announcing their fight schedule. You know, you had Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia. They were there publicizing their fight. You had Sean Porter and Yordanis Ugas publicizing their fight. You had Keith Thurman versus Jose Cito Lopez. They were publicizing their fight. You had a bunch of fighters on stage. You had Leo Santa Cruz. He was fighting what was the guy he was fighting? I forgot the guy he was fighting, but he's fighting the guy. They was announcing that fight. They announcing a bunch of fights on that stage, man. And they had a big press conference publicizing their schedule for the winter and the spring. PBC on Fox. Now, what I want to know is, where is the PBC on Fox fall and winter schedule? You know, we're getting close to, it's finna be August now. We're in the summertime, and we still don't have a lot of dates lined up for their fighters, man. We hear a lot about fights that, are lined up, man, but they don't have a date or a venue. You know, we all know that, for instance, Jarrett Hurd versus J-Rock. That fight was a part of the release earlier this year with the winter fall schedule from PBC. You know, now they're going to have a rematch. You know, J-Rock beat Jarrett Hurd, won by unanimous decision, dropped him one time and won that fight by unanimous decision in J-Rock right outside his hometown in Maryland, I believe it was, right outside of the Washington, D.C. area. And that fight is, Jarrett Hurd has exercised his rights on the rematch. He exercised his rematch clause. So that fight is definitely going to take place, but they haven't announced that fight. You've got Tony Harrison versus Charlo, the rematch. They haven't announced that fight. You've got other fights out there. You know, you've got Leo Santa Cruz. You know, they've been trying to make that Russell fight. That Gary Russell Jr. fight. He was talking with DAZN and Eddie Hearn, but the talks broke down. So maybe Al Haymon, offered him what he'd been asking for the last year or two, a fight with Leo Santa Cruz. Maybe they're going to make that fight, but still no announcement. That's what the point I'm trying to make. Still no announcement. And, like I said, you got a lot of fights out there. You got a potential Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia fight. You've got, all we know right now is you got Errol Spence versus Sean Porter on September 28th. And you got Anthony Durrell versus David Benavidez. It's going to be the co-main event. But you got a lot of fights out there that's still, pretty much lined up, but nothing has been announced yet. They came out recently. Broner's going to be fighting Ivan Reddick, and they say it's looking like that fight's going to take place in October. Now, as you know, if you're looking at past history, October has been a month that they don't have a lot of fights, especially PBC. They don't pretty much put too many fights on the month of October. I don't know why they don't do that, but past history has shown they don't like to really do any fights in the month of October. But rumor has it that Adrian Broner is going to fight Ivan Reddick, and that fight will be in October. So the point I'm trying to make is, when you look at the dates, I went to the website and I looked at the dates of the fight dates set up with PBC. I know they got a fight date set up September 21st on Fox Sports 1. Okay, obviously they already announced that Errol is fighting Sean Porter on September 28th, and then you got Durrell versus Benavidez as a co-main event. And then they got another date reserved for November the 2nd, okay, on November the 2nd on Fox, okay, Fox Sports 1. They got a date set up there on November the 2nd on Fox Sports 1. Now, we know that November 9th, a week later, it's been widely rumored that Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz rematch will be on that date. Now, they're going to be needing a co-main event on that date. So maybe they pick from the fights I just listed. You got, I would think J-Rock versus Jarrett Hurd, since that's going to be for 2 belts. I would assume that fight's going to be a main event fight. I have a hard time seeing that fight being an undercard fight when you fight for 2 belts at junior middleweight. But maybe they do that. I think that fight's gonna stand alone. So maybe they put Broner and Reddick. Maybe they move that from October. Maybe he's a co-main event to help support the Wilder Luis Ortiz pay-per-view. Broner is one of the biggest names in the PBC, so they might want to put him alone. But like I say, you're looking at limited dates. November 2nd, September 21st, and December 14th. That's the dates they have reserved so far. They don't have any other dates reserved, so I'm just going by the dates they have reserved for PBC. And the two of those dates are Fox Sports 1 date. Now the December 14th date, that's a Fox date. They could, that fight is on Fox, and it could be moved to a Fox pay-per-view, but that's Fox. That's the date reserved for Fox, a Fox fight. They don't have any opponents lined up. Now maybe I would say the candidates maybe for the Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz rematch. Maybe I can see maybe they put Charlo versus Harrison in a rematch. Maybe they put that on as a co-main event for that fight. Maybe they do that. Then you got Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia. In my opinion, I think that they probably put that fight maybe on December 14th at the end of the year. That could be a big pay-per-view fight on Fox. Maybe they put that for that date. If I had to make a prediction, if they come to terms, I think they want that fight to be December 14th. Now the next 2 dates, September 21st and November 9th, are the 2 dates that are open. And September 21st is not that it's not that far away. And you already announced Errol Spence and Sean Porter on the 28th of September. So maybe they is that too soon to put Charlo and Harrison as a main event on their own on September 21st on Fox Sports 1? Will they do that? Maybe. We'll see. There's a lot of moving pieces right now. But what I'm saying is, what is taking PBC so long to come out with their fall winter schedule? They came out with the winter spring schedule at the beginning of 2019 at a big press conference. But now it's not now it's quiet right now, quiet on the PBC front right now. They're not really releasing anything. You just hear a lot of rumors about a lot of fights that's lined up, but you don't have any dates or any venues, man, and you got a limited amount of time and a limited amount of dates to go with. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Showtime comes into this, but Showtime hasn't been showing that many fights. They showed Gervonta Davis this past weekend knocking out Nunez, but when the last time they had a fight on before that? I ain't talking about these little showbox fights on Friday. I'm talking about like a major fight. When the last time they had one on before that? It's been a while. Probably was Wilder versus Brazil. That was in December. You got December. No. It wasn't in December. It was okay. You had Pacquiao Broner in January, and then you had Wilder Brazil a couple of months after that. You had that, and then you went quiet for a while. Now you got like I said, then you had Clarissa Shields. She fought that fight against the undefeated girl from overseas. I can't remember her name right now. That was on Showtime. That was a major fight especially for women boxing. You had that fight on. I'm talking about just big fights. After that, then you had Davis versus Nunez this past Saturday. So it's been a lot of time in between. So they don't have nothing major scheduled. Rest of this year they don't have anything scheduled. Showtime and Espinosa, they don't have any big fights scheduled. So maybe one of those fights move over to Showtime. You got Leo Santa Cruz versus Gary Russell Jr. I'm thinking that fight's going to happen toward the end of the year. Maybe Showtime picks that fight up. So we'll see what happens. But you're looking at what Showtime's done so far this year. They're working with a limited budget, and they probably not going. I won't look for them to put a whole lot of fights on the rest of this year. Maybe a couple of fights, maybe 1 or 2 more fights the rest of the year. And I'm talking about big fights the rest of the year, and that'll be it for them. So it's gonna be interesting to see, man. You got a lot of fights that are lined up, man, but nothing's been announced yet. I know PBC got the people working on those things, man. It's just surprising to me that none of these fights have been announced as of yet. You see, we've heard a lot of speculation, but nothing official. And like I say, the only thing that we have for sure is we've got Errol Spence versus Sean Porter, September 28th, Fox pay-per-view. We got Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz. That's definitely going to happen. Everybody's saying that fight's going to happen on, it's rumored to happen on November the 9th. So let's just say that for the sake of saying that fight is 75% done. More likely it's going to be, 75% to be on November the 9th. Let's just say that. So you got that date, November the 9th. That's going to be a pay-per-view date. See, the dates that Premier Boxing Champions have reserved, these are just regular dates. These are not pay-per-view dates. These are just like regular dates they have set up for Fox Sports 1 and Fox. And like I say, they got a date set up for September 21st. That's going to be on Fox Sports 1. They've got a date set up for November the 9th. November the 2nd. I don't know why I keep saying 9th. November the 2nd, that's supposed to be on Fox Sports 1. And they've got a date reserved for December the 14th. That's on Fox. So those 3 dates are the ones that they have reserved so far. So, and they've got a lot of fights that they need to try to make happen before the year is out. Again, you got J-Rock versus Hurd 2 rematch. You got Tony Harrison versus Jamel Charlo 2 the rematch. You got Adrian Broner versus Ivan Reddick. You've got these are potential fights, haven't been lined up, but these other fights you got that's been rumored. These other 3 fights I just named, these fights are set. They just need dates. And then you got potential fights that they're trying to set up. Maybe is you got Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia. And then you got Leo Santa Cruz versus Gary Russell Jr. Those 2 fights are kind of like wild card fights that they haven't been agreed to yet, but those are fights that I've been hearing that they're still trying to line up for the end of this year. And we're going to see if those fights end up getting lined up, or maybe a couple of those fights get pushed back to early 2020 because they don't have enough time and enough dates to qualify to put those fights on this year. Now, one of these fights is going to be co-main event for Wilder Ruiz, the rematch. I don't know if I had to make a educated guess, I would think it would be Charlo Harrison to the rematch. You put that as a co-main event for Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz too. I think J-Rock and Jerry Hurd to the rematch. You got two titles on the line. I think that's probably be a standalone main event fight. And you look at the November the 9th or December 14th. Either maybe early as September the 21st for that fight. You look for that. And then you got Broner versus Ivan Reddick, which is Broner is one of the biggest names under PBC. So he's gonna be on. He's just coming off a pay-per-view fight with Pacquiao, which did good numbers. So I think that'll be a main event fight too. So you look for one of those dates to put that fight on. I think September is probably too early for that fight, September 21st, but maybe November 9th. Or you do December 14th for that fight, especially if you can't agree to terms with Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia. Especially those 2 can't agree to terms. You maybe throw Broner and Reddick on that Fox date. You put them on. You put your biggest name on regular TV where you got the most eyes, and the most eyes you put your most recognizable name on free TV. That'll be the smart move to do on that point. If I was running PBC, but we'll see what happens, man. I was just thinking about that today, man. Sitting around home, man. Just thinking about that. I'm like, man, what's going on with the PBC, man? They put on some good fights this year, no doubt. But what's going on with the PBC Fall and Winter schedule, man? You got a lot of fights lined up, but no dates, man. No dates and venues. Nothing has been officially announced yet. And I looked at their schedule. They've got 3 dates reserved. Again, September 21st. November 2nd and December 14th, those 3 dates, and you got all these fights, man, all these main event caliber fights, and you only got basically 3 dates reserved. What's gonna happen? Is Showtime gonna pick up some of these fights, or some of these fights gonna go to pay-per-view, or how that's gonna work, man? But it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out, man. But again, the fights to look out for, and the fights to be looking out to get announced are J-Rock versus Hurd 2, Harrison versus Charlo 2, Broner versus Ivan Reddick, and Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz 2, which more than likely is going to be on November 9th. Look for those 4 fights to get announced before the year is out. And the 2 wild card fights is Leo Santa Cruz versus Gary Russell Jr. and Mikey Garcia versus Danny Garcia. If those fighters can come to agreement, look for those fights to maybe end up pushing the fights that I just mentioned earlier, maybe push them to either a co-main event under Wilder Ortiz 2, or maybe possibly move those fights to early next year. So we'll see what happens, man. Or let me forget, maybe Showtime picks up one of those 2 fights if the those two ladder fights get made. Like I said, Russell and Leo Santa Cruz and Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia. So we'll see what happens, man. Just my opinion on it, and hopefully we'll be hearing some announcements in the coming weeks, and we'll be able to kind of talk about these fights, man. Because I kind of don't like to speculate when these fights gonna happen. I like to talk about them when they get announced and break them down and predict who I think is gonna win and how I think the fight's going to play out. That's what I like to do. So we'll see what happens, man. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I'll holler.